Overview of job hierarchy and titles. The last section of the strategic job search plan focuses on jobs you want to target. But before we talk about jobs, we need to do a quick overview of job hierarchy and titles because understanding these areas can help focus your job search. Here are the learning outcomes for this video. By the end of the video, you should 1. Understand the difference between individual contributors and managers. 2. Understand how employees are ranked by authority on the org chart. 3. Understand that it's more difficult to get a manager job. And 4. Understand how your knowledge of hierarchy can help your job search. Let's get started. The hierarchy of any company can be separated into 2 categories of employees: individual contributors and managers. Individual contributors are employees who do not manage anyone, whereas managers supervise other employees. Managers are responsible for ensuring that employees achieve individual results in alignment with overall company goals. Managers will have their own goals and budget set for them by their managers. Even though there are just 2 broad categories of employees, there can be multiple layers of authority within the company hierarchy. Individual contributors typically have the authority to make operational decisions within the scope of their job responsibilities. They typically don't have the authority to make strategic decisions, such as hiring someone or setting company goals. These strategic decisions are made by managers. As the titles of managers change, moving up the company hierarchy, so does the authority to make decisions. In general, higher-ranked managers have more authority to make more important decisions and are responsible for larger budgets. Companies typically depict the structure, relationships, and ranks of jobs by using a visual aid called an org chart, which is short for organizational chart. A quick note on titles you might see on the org chart. Titles can vary widely across industries and companies. For example, banks might have a lot more employees with the title vice president than energy companies do. And smaller companies, especially startups, might have a higher ratio of managerial titles when compared to larger companies. When looking at a company's org chart, you should be able to determine if the org structure is vertical or flat. Vertical structures include many layers of management, whereas flat structures have less layers. The difference between the 2 structures is the distance individual contributors are from the highest levels of strategic decision making. As a general rule, the more employees a company has, the more likely it's that the company has a vertical org structure with many layers of management. Each org structure has its own pros and cons. For example, some pros associated with a vertical structure include clear roles and responsibilities and defined career paths with opportunities for advancement. However, decision-making can be slower, which can lead to less innovation and flexibility. This bureaucratic decision-making can be mind-numbingly frustrating for you. Some pros associated with a flat structure are faster communication and enhanced collaboration. However, there are limited advancement opportunities which can negatively impact employee motivation. In a flat structure, you might also be forced to wear too many hats, which means work in too many areas. This can lead to burnout. Job competitiveness, or the difficulty it takes to get a certain job, is higher for managerial jobs due to supply and demand. On the supply side, there are significantly less manager jobs than individual contributor jobs because managers supervise multiple employees. And there are even less managerial jobs for higher titles as you move up the org chart. For example, a company with 10,000 employees might have 500 middle managers, but only 50 vice presidents. On the demand side, managerial jobs can be in demand because they typically carry higher compensation and greater perceived prestige. This supply-demand imbalance means it can be really hard to get a manager job. Now that you understand hierarchy and authority within a company, let's talk about how they impact your job search. First, you might try to find an org chart for a company you're interested in because this can help you find people you want to reach out to. Some nonprofits and government agencies post their org charts online, or you might be able to piece together an org chart using LinkedIn. Second, understanding hierarchy can help you figure out who the hiring manager for a certain job is. We'll talk more about the importance of the hiring manager in later videos. And third, understanding titles helps your job search go efficiently by focusing on jobs you're actually qualified for. That's the end of this foundational video, but just a reminder that this video is part of a longer playlist. The playlist is in chronological order, meaning videos at the beginning of the playlist cover things that occur at the beginning of a job search and vice versa. If you liked this video, then you should check out the other videos in the playlist. If you thought this video was confusing, then try going backwards in the playlist to learn more about job search up until this point, or even forwards in the playlist to see how things come together. Thanks.